Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of my podcast. So today we are going to talk to a special person. If you are in the Philippine industry, if you have been to music concerts in the Philippines, you probably seen this person. Today we are talking to Karen from Finite Fam. Hi Karen.
Nice. Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so how are you doing with the lockdown and the COVID and all this? How are you coping with this?
It's been really hard because we have to cancel all our remaining shows for the rest of the year because until further notice, that is because we're not sure even if the lockdown is lifted, even if we're like back to normal. It's still prohibited to have large gatherings. So
Right.
we've kind of accepted that in a way. So that's why we started the Finite magazine, online magazine, just so we can still bring content to our followers.
Yeah, I saw that when you released it, so I even downloaded that. It's very interesting that that it came out. I think Karen, I think I've probably first seen you maybe in 2015 or 2016. I think in one of the
Maybe
summer
it was
slams.
SummerSlam, was it?
Yeah, I think it's SummerSlam, right? Probably 2016 SummerSlam.
Yeah, from the volume SummerSlam.
Yeah, the special volume. I'm
That
quite.
was actually my first SummerSlam ever.
Yeah, so do you know that it was actually supposed to be SummerSlam today because the 2020
Yeah,
SummerSlam
I
was
saw
supposed
I
to
saw
be.
you guys had a Zoom meeting with Vernon.
Yeah,
That's super cool.
it's kind of very emotional gathering because you know everyone was looking forward to this, and then it was the
Yeah.
20th anniversary. So, but anyway, life goes on, right? So.
I mean, maybe next year. Who
Yeah.
knows?
I can you tell me a little bit about you? How did you get into the music scene, and you know what music did you discover? You know, early age. What bands did you listen to?
Well, I wasn't really a metal fan or so. Like when I was younger, I used to listen to just like soft rock, like Paramore, and like things, bands like that. But I never really liked metal until I listened to We Came as Romance and Of Mice and Men, bands like that. I started
Right.
to listen to. I started to get into heavier stuff when I was in college. I think that I was 18. That I'm a late bloomer. So
Right.
um, yeah, I've always been like passionate about bands and music that I like. Even before when I didn't listen to metal. So when I got into metal, the passion is still there. Just like any thing that I put my mind into, I'm passionate about it, and I just like I do it with 100%. So I started. I actually like volumes. I started to beg Vernon to bring them to Manila back in like 2014. I
Right.
was like, please, I keep on messaging him, like, please bring volumes to the Philippines. And then, like, fast forward, I begged him for like a couple of years, and then finally he brought them to the Philippines.
Right.
So yeah, I started Finite Fam back in 2017. Yeah, it was 2017 with a bunch of friends. We just wanted to do like local shows. I've ever since I got into metal, I also started to go to local shows as well. That's how I found out that the Philippines has a massive metal scene as well. So yeah, that's pretty much like the summary of it.
Right. So is that the start of Finite Family, or is that the birth of Finite Family?
It was 2017. Yeah,
So what's
that was the
Finite
start.
Family? It's what does Finite Family do? Can you tell me a little bit about who's part of it and what you guys do?
Okay. So when we first started in 2017, Finite Fam had like 11 members, so we were like a huge team.
Mm.
But during when time went by, these people that I was with, they're still my friends, but like they just don't have the same goals as me. So it's kind of like when you're in a band and you don't have the same goals, it won't work. So they had to go, and there was a time when it was just me and Jam, me and my friend Jam. We were just like the two people running Finite Fam for like a few months, and then right now we're five in total. So that's me, Jam, Patricia, Enrique, and Nico. So what we do basically is, aside from doing events, aside from organizing events, we also do content creation. So like recently we had a magazine, like what I said. We do interviews with local acts as well, and then we also have we also do artist management. So right now I manage 5 bands in the Finite Fam roster, like 5 local bands.
Okay. I know like you manage like Lost Threads and then also ORCA, right? So what are the other bands you manage?
Um, so I manage LOSTTHREADS, ORCA, Fragments, Similar Intents, and False Contender. They're all metal, but like, different genres. Except for False Contender. False Contender is pop punk, and LOSTTHREADS is metalcore. Fragments is like a mixture of metal, and Similar Intents is melodic hardcore, and ORCA is progressive metal. So there's like, I want it to be as a mixture of everything. So we would have like a lot of, you know, so we would have everything right under a roster. But we started. I've never really wanted to, not really want to, but like I've never planned to manage a band before. But I met LOSTTHREADS. It was the time when we started doing this monthly featured artist segment on our page. So if you guys haven't seen the featured artist segment on the Finite Fam page, it's this monthly, we feature one band, one local band. Oh, actually, we've expanded to we've interviewed international acts as well. So each month there's this band that we interview, and we release this interview as a featured artist segment, and we promote them all month long. Just so it's something that could like help promote bands to our audience, to the audience that we have on Finite Fam. So that's how I met LOSTTHREADS. They were the first featured artists that Finite Fam had, and I was actually a LOSTTHREADS fan way before I even started Finite Fam. When I was just going to local gigs, I would always see them, and they were just like, every time it's their set, everyone's like, oh, you should see this. Like everyone's like watching when it's LOSTTHREADS
Right.
on local gigs. So I've seen them live before, and I've always been a fan. And then after the featured artist thing, they contacted me and they asked if we could handle their tour, their nationwide tour, and that's how we kind of bonded. And then they asked me to be their manager. So that's basically where it all started, the management thing.
Yeah, I've seen Lost Threads, I think probably 4 or 5 times, including they opened for Slayer, right? That time we met on Slam, they were open for Slayer.
They opened for Slayer. Super cool. That was like one of their dreams as a band. So they were like super happy and nervous about it. It was cool too, because I got to have a free pass backstage. So I was like hanging out with Amur and everyone else. I love SummerSlam.
Yeah, and I saw this the performance Lost Thread did of the tower sessions, right? That's the March of the Skep. That's a really cool video, huh?
Cool. Yeah, they used to be on Tower of Doom, so that's why I have that video.
Right. And then this other band, Nico's band, Fragments,
Fragment.
which I'm really trying to figure out what that band is, because they released this Heaven's Gate video recently, right? So
Yeah.
it's quite amazing. I feel that they're kind of, I don't know, they're trying to, their message is kind of black metal.
Yeah, kind of. But they're not really like so to say like antichrist or like something. They're not really like that, but it's more of like they want to be as what do you call it? Like they want to be like as transparent as like, but nothing against like whatever, just just not basically, because black metal is like basically like I'm against religion and all
Right.
that, but like, it's really like nothing really that much like that. Just just being themselves.
Yeah, I noticed that the video that they did with the Heaven's Gate cult videos and the clips and stuff, it's really, it doesn't feel like it's from a Philippine band, right? It feels very
Oh, thanks. I'll let
international
them know.
already.
It was a DIY thing.
It's really really cool. I've seen Nico perform couple of times. He's also a photographer, right?
Yeah, he can basically do anything. The guy's
Okay.
like super talented. So yeah, he's
I
also
can't.
he with
Yeah.
Finite Fam he does all our graphic design as well. So
Yeah, I can't imagine, because when I see him like a photographer, he's very quiet, and but he
yeah,
gets on stage, he's like a beast, right?
yeah, that's neat for you.
So Karen, what was the first show you organized?
Oh, it was actually Volumes Night. It
Okay.
was this Volumes tribute night where we had a bunch of local acts to perform covers of Volumes.
Right.
Yeah, that was back in 2017. I started that because it was what do you call it? Like it was Volumes had just put out a new album back then, Different Animals in 2017. So I started that show just to like in tribute to Volume. So that was my first show ever, and I had no idea what I was doing. Just a couple of friends just helped me out to like keep it organized, but it wasn't really organized. I got drunk and whatever, but it was so fun. There was a lot of people went. That's actually why I was like, okay, maybe I like this. Maybe I like doing this. So that's why that's one of the reasons why I started Finite Fam as well, because there was a lot of people who came out that night, and I really enjoyed that.
Mhm. So what was the first international show? International artist?
Oh, first international show. I wouldn't really count it, but um, there's this punk band from Australia called Stone to Death. We did personally, we didn't really bring them like single-handedly, but it was part of their Philippine tour. So I wouldn't really consider that as like our show. We just kind of helped um, put up one show in one area, but it wasn't really our like our management
Mhm.
thing. So, but I would consider my first international show was of Virtue during Finite Fest 2019.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, Stone to Death. I remember that was the guy. Like he's kind of doing a G.G. Allen kind of performance, right? He goes extreme, right?
Oh yeah. And he got naked on stage and whatsoever. It
Right.
was great. It was fun. Yeah, but yeah, the only reason why I wouldn't consider it is because consider it as like our first international show is just because we didn't really organize it. We just organized one show for them.
Yeah. So, Finite Fest. I was actually there. I was there
Yeah.
also. Yeah, and then I remember the lineup was of
Did
Virtue.
you
Then you
finish
had,
it? Did you finish the fest?
sorry.
Did you finish the entire fest?
Yes, yes, I was there till I think the last band was Parallel Horizon. So
The
I
Horizons,
watched
yeah.
two songs of that because I had something to do in the morning. So I watched only their two songs. So you had Off Virtue, and then ARKM from Hong Kong, and then Parallel Horizons also from Hong Kong,
Yep.
right? Um, how did you how you were able to pull this off with getting off virtue and putting up this first ever festival?
So it wasn't originally, it wasn't supposed to be a fest, but so of Virtue, I've been friends with them for like 2 or 3 years now. I've always I'm good friends with their manager,
Right.
Oliver. We've he wanted to do an Asian tour with a Virtue, so he asked my help to put a show for them in the Philippines. So I talked to my team, and we decided to just make it into a whole fest, it just so it would be like a bigger scale event, you know. But we didn't really plan to like have a fest that year. Actually, last year we didn't really plan to, but yeah, that was just because we wanted a bigger show for O Virtue, because we know we're O Virtue isn't really well known in the Philippines yet, so we thought we'd put up a lot of other bands to support them. So yeah, then Finite Fest was born. With Parallel Horizons and ARKM. Parallel Horizons is good friends with LOSTTHREADS. We also hosted them um, during the LOSTTHREADS tour the year before, so we became friends with them, and we decided to invite them as well, just so we also have different, just so we have an foreign Asian band as well. So each year we plan to keep expanding Finite Fest, of course. So we are always aiming to have like bands from the US or Europe or Australia, and then mix it with our local acts in the Philippines and Asian bands as well. So because as Finite Fam, we wanna be as large as possible, you know. So we want to cater to not only just local acts but international acts in the US and Asia and Europe and wherever.
Yeah, I noticed that these guys, when they come from like Hong Kong or Singapore, here the bands, they really enjoy Philippines, right? Because the crowd,
Yeah,
they really prefer to play in the Philippines
yeah,
than
because the
their
crowd's
country.
always crazy here.
This you know, we also did some shows earlier. We were trying to do some bands, but what I experienced, what it was very challenging, you know, to do shows here, the finding venues, finding people, you
Yeah.
know. So how did you able to manage all this? What are the challenges, and do you sometimes feel like giving up on this doing a show? So
Oh, a couple times. Like no, not a couple times, but like a lot of times. Sometimes, actually, oftentimes, I ask myself like, is it really worth it? Like, what am I doing? Like, is this really, you know? Because it's different to host shows in the Philippines. It's a lot of money,
mm,
um, and it's a lot of risk as well. Because even if you because you would think it's an investment, and people think it's so easy,
mm,
but it's really not that easy. You need manpower, you need extra money, like whatever. And you know, worst case scenario, you don't get enough tickets, you don't get a lot of people to go to your show, so you know, you waste a lot, not like waste, but like you lose a lot of money
right.
in the end. So you know, that's I think that's one of the biggest risks. But I the reason why I don't give up on this is because well, I for one, I don't really like quitting as soon as I started something I want to that I'm passionate about, like this one. I don't want to just like give up instantly. And right now I have the set of people that support me, like my team and Finite Fam and LOSTTHREADS are very very supportive of me. It's like every time I want to give up, which is a lot of times, they know what to say. It's like, you know, like they always tell me that, well, we need you, we need Finite Fam, and like there's a lot of people who support us, and people who go to our shows, like it means a lot because these people are giving you their time, their money for the tickets, and like just to see your show, just to support the kind of thing that you put up. Especially with Finite Fest, like I was so stressed that day, but everyone had turned out like just it meant a lot to me, and I met a lot of people who even came from far places, provinces in the Philippines, just to see Finite Fest, which is like it means a lot to me. So it never goes unnoticed, like the amount of support we get. So yeah, that's what's keeping me going.
Yeah, so also that's why I always try to go to the live shows as much as possible, and then try to buy buy the tickets and then buy the merch,
Yeah,
so that we support the
you
band.
do collect a lot of merch, so you always buy a lot of merch.
Yeah, mainly
I think
because of
you
I
have
want.
a poster, right? You have a Finite Fest poster.
Yeah, I want to support the bands, because I understand the
Yeah,
bands sometimes don't make a lot of money doing the show, right? It's
yeah.
only when they buy the merch that they will make some money. So it's important to support the bands. Before I talk about the next Finite Fest, I want to talk about the show that you did in the after that, which is Alpha Wolf from Australia.
Yeah.
So how did that came up?
Well, I'm like a huge Alpha Wolf fan. I have the Alpha Wolf tattoo right here. But
Wow.
so I got offered Alpha Wolf by Disrupt from Singapore. They're this tour management company that basically offers production teams around Asia.
Hmm.
So basically, they manage a tour for foreign bands. So I got offered Alpha Wolf back in that was like back before Finite Fest even came up. Like I was offered Alpha Wolf a long time ago. Um, but then I instantly said yes because like oh my gosh, like they're one of my favorite bands. So I'm just like, okay, let's do it. So basically that was just it. And we did the show in August 2019.
Yeah, and it was held in what was the venue in Novaliches, right?
Matchbox, yeah.
Matchbox, yeah, which is a long ride, but it's
I know it was so far, but like I feel bad about it as well. But like I would have put them in a different venue, but there's the venues in Manila are just so small,
yeah.
and it's hard to find venues basically.
Actually, I like that, except for the going to that sometimes if you have to travel on a weekday, it's really takes long time because of the traffic, right? So, but other than that, the venue it's okay for a metal show, right? It's
Yeah.
yeah, I've seen so many shows actually there. Um, you guys released the Finite the sign recently, the first issue. I was reading through that. I saw you did the album review, some interviews. So what does it include? If you can tell everyone what's included on the first issue of Finite Sam.
Oh, Finite Magazine
Yeah.
includes interviews with bands. Basically it's we just want to feature bands that are less well known. So because we've always wanted to be an outlet for people, for our listeners, for our audiences to discover new music. That's why we strive to create articles all the time when there's new releases and stuff like that. So we decided to interview bands that are like basically bands that are worth your time, like bands worth listening to. So that's what people can expect on the next issues as well. We would always have lesser known bands that deserve your time and your ears. So yeah, and aside from that, what else do we have? Oh, reviews for um, bands and albums that we've liked so far. So yeah, it's I think it's less than 30 pages for now. The first zine is like 28 pages or something, but You know, it's something, I don't know. A lot of people ask me if it's going to be a regular thing for us, but I don't know the answer yet. But I'm overwhelmed by the support that it has gotten so far. Um, so I don't know. Maybe we will continue it. It depends, because when the quarantine and the lockdown is over, we will start. Of course, we will start to do shows again. So I don't know if we would have the time to do the magazine, but we'll see. You know, we'll see where it goes. But right now, what I can tell you is we're working on the second issue.
Yeah. And then you guys included the Trivium album, the latest Trivium album review, which is cool, because that album is really really, I really like that album.
Yeah, I haven't listened to it. It was written by one of our writers.
Yes. And then you included the interview with ARKM touring guy BJ, who is also one of my friends. So
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah,
your
so
friend BJ? Yeah.
yeah, because
Well, BJ, Arcane Riot was one of the prods that helped us with Alpha Wolf, with bringing Alpha Wolf in Manila. So we had to include him because he's a good friend of ours.
yeah, he helped me because I saw this band called Bastardizer in Australia when I was in
Yeah.
Sydney, and then I wanted to bring them to the Philippines. So those few years ago, I don't know anybody, so I keep on asking different people, can you bring them here? And then I was able to ask BJ, and then BJ was actually able to get that show done here. So they were able to come here 2018 from Australia. So so BJ is very nice. Yeah.
He's very
Uh,
nice. He's very helpful.
yeah. Karen, did you see this latest video, Ghost Inside video, Aftermath? Have you seen
Yeah.
that one?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so crazy, right? I was
Oh,
like,
they're finally back.
yeah, crazy. I was like, when you watch this one, it's a very good song, and then I feel like you will end up in tears, right? Almost.
Yeah. Especially if you're like a big Ghost Inside fan, because you know, like, it was tragic, and then they really like got back up, so to say.
Yeah. So, what are the other bands that I know we should talk about volumes, but before talking about volumes, which other bands do you listen to in these days or recently?
Recently, well, I've always like my number two favorite band. If Volumes didn't exist, my favorite band would be North Lane. So I still listen to their latest album, Alien. It's one of my favorite albums ever. What else? Sleep Token. If you haven't heard about them, they're this British band that is so good. I don't even know how to explain their music, but
Yeah, I listened to
they're
one of the songs, and yeah, I couldn't even categorize them yet to what kind of music it is, right? Sleep Token.
yeah, but it's I think it's so experimental and refreshing to me, so I love them. And recently I got into Dayseeker.
Hmm.
They're this alternative rock band, but it's so good. I've been obsessed with them recently. And also Loath. If you haven't, have you heard about Loath?
No.
Oh, you should listen to Loath. They're like baby Deftones.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
they're a lot like Deftones, but still has their own kind of sound to it, which makes it, you know, still their very own sound. But it would remind you of Deftones. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I listen to. Yeah.
Do
Oh,
you?
and Dance Gavin Dance, the new Dance Gavin Dance album is amazing.
Which band? December Avenue.
What?
What's the last band you said?
Dance Gavin Dance.
Okay. Okay. Do you also listen to like Fairy Fairy, Veil of Maya, those bands?
Yeah. Veil of
Great.
Maya's, those two are two of my favorite bands as well. And Veil of Maya, I'm so glad I got to see them at Volumes.
Right. Yes, they played with
Yeah.
Volume. Right.
They're also very good friends with Volumes as well.
Karen, what about Poppy? You know that, right? Poppy signed with
Yeah,
Sumaya.
but I've never listened to Poppy. What is it?
The solo artist Poppy. That's
Because because I know that Poppy used to be, I've heard the song of Poppy because before she was signed to Sumerian Records.
Right.
But yeah, I was like, oh, this is weird, but I didn't really like it. So, but I haven't listened to her new music.
Hmm.
Is it metal now?
Yeah, kind of. I think has this Asian kind of influence. Like she's trying to follow like baby metal type of style.
Oh, okay.
So death metal music background, but she sings like a lollipop
Like
song.
pop.
Like yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like the lyrics
I
are like
don't I don't know if I would be into that because I'm not really a big fan of baby metal. But
hmm,
either way, I was still gonna go to Pop SummerSlam because I wanted to see King 810.
yes. King 18 was part of the. So you convinced Vernon to bring volumes to Philippines, right? So
Yeah,
how long did it take? How many years?
I don't know, maybe like 3 years, 2 or 3 years,
Right.
something. You could actually ask Vernon about that, but he would. I don't know. It's so embarrassing. I keep begging him to. And the first time I asked him, I was like, Sir Vernon, have you ever heard of Volumes? And that was back in 2014. So that was like their peak because they released their album that just got them into got them into fame in the gent community. So I asked Sir Vernon if he has heard of Volumes, and he's like, oh, no, I mean, and he was like, oh yeah, I've heard of them, but like I don't think they have enough fans here for me to bring them. So I was like, okay, that's totally understandable.
Right.
So what I did was I started Volumes Philippines, which is this
Oh,
whole Volumes street team. So
right.
and I got so many people to keep on tweeting Vernon from time to time, so just so he would feel the Volumes presence in the country. So like he didn't even tell me that he was finally gonna bring them, but I just know I keep begging him to
Hmm.
since 2014. And then like when it was 2016, they released this article interview with Volumes on the Pulp magazine, and I was like, wait a minute, why is he interviewing Volumes? And well, I realized, well, maybe he's bringing them finally. And then they got announced to Pop SummerSlam. I was like in tears almost.
Maybe your street team it got to pulp, right? So they probably seen your presence already. So
Yeah,
there's a lot
yeah,
of
it was probably, yeah. And I love, like, I will always owe it to Vernon that I got to see them live. And even then when I was it was this is a Pop SummerSlam story because when I was at that was like my first Pop SummerSlam, the Volumes one, and I was talking to Gus, their Volumes vocalist. Then
Mm.
I was talking to him, and then Vernon approaches us, and he's like, hey, oh guys, you guys are finally meeting, and blah blah blah. And then he says to Gus like, did you know that Karen's the reason that I brought you guys here?
Mm.
He told Volumes that, so that means a lot to me.
Yeah.
So I always tell everyone that I ever meet that Vernon brought Volumes because of me. I'm always gonna tell that. He said so himself.
So when they were here in the Philippines, you got to spend time with the band, right? A little bit.
Yeah, I basically forced them to spend time with me. No, when I first met them, um, they immediately recognized me. I was like, hey, I'm Karen, and they were like, we already know you. Don't introduce yourself. And yeah, they were here for like 4 or 5 days. Like right after Pulp SummerSlam, they were still here for like another 3 days or something.
Right.
But yeah, so I got to spend time with them because I've always messaged them because like I was like, oh, I'm breathing the same air as Volumes right now, so I couldn't stay at home. I was like, I should meet you. So I basically canceled everything that I've been doing all of those 5 days, 4 to 5 days, and just like tried to spend time with them. And they were like so nice to me.
Yeah, I've seen the video, some of the videos. I don't know if it's yours or theirs, that like they were taking the tricycles and stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Did they enjoy the
I
food here,
took the
Philippines?
tricycle with Diego, actually.
How
It's
about the
just
food?
so
Did they enjoy the food in the Philippines?
what?
Did they enjoy the food in the Philippines?
Yeah, they love I asked Rod their bassist. He says he loves Japa.
Okay. I know this band is very close to your heart. So, what did you felt when you find out that Diego has passed away?
I actually it's really sad story because so I found out through his brother on Twitter, Gus. He tweeted RIP Diego, and I at first I didn't really want to believe it. I was like, is this a joke or whatever? But so I messaged the guys from Volumes because I wanted to confirm, and the drummer replied to me, and he didn't even know. He found out about Diego through me because I asked him what happened. He's like, what happened? And I was like, oh, you don't know? And then I sent him Gus's tweet, and so he really found out about Diego from me. So that's really sad. I that was like a week before my birthday. Yeah, that was a week before my birthday, and I was gonna have this like party with the Finite Fam team, but I wanted to cancel it. I was basically I just wanted to cry. I was so hurt. So
Yeah, I remember I saw that the in Twitter, and then I immediately send you a message, right? When that happened.
because Jago's like I think Jago's like the closest one to me, if not Rad. Um, so I got to spend the most time with Jago when he was here as well, and I talked to him from time to time over the years, and he's so sweet. Like he's the nicest guy ever.
So Diego passed away also, I think, around the same time when Gus left the band as well, right?
Oh no, they left. Gus left. Actually, Diego left, and Gus got kicked out.
Right.
And then maybe like 1 or 2 weeks later, that was when Diego passed away. But when I found out that Diego left, I messaged him, and that was the last time I've ever talked to him because I messaged him about him leaving, and I asked him why he left, and he was like he wasn't really he said he wasn't really into Volumes anymore, but there was no bad blood between him and the band. He just didn't really feel like um being in Volumes anymore. He doesn't really want to do metal anymore. He just wanted to be a producer because he also produces. So
Mm.
yeah, he produced all the Volumes albums, but that's all he wanted to do. Should be all he wanted to do now. But yeah, so I told him like I don't really want a Volumes without you, and he's like, well, don't worry about it because they're gonna be fine. And well, they took their original singer back, Michael Barr.
Mm.
So yeah, I love new Volumes now, but you know I'll always miss Jago.
So what about they released the new single Pixelate, right? So
Pixelate.
what do you think about that song?
I love Pixelate. I think it's the best song they've written in years. Like since Michael Barr left, that's their best song they've ever released. For me, at least, because it's more of like going back to their roots, going back to their original sound, which is what I really miss about them since they changed their sound back in 2017. They became more like softer poppy. Like I mean, I still love the new sound back in 2017, but you know, they're bringing back their old sound now, which is like very nostalgic and you know something that I really missed about them.
Do you think you will ever consider bringing volumes back to the Philippines again?
Oh, that's like my number one goal. Once I bring volumes here, I'm done. Like I could give up.
Karen, with that thought, so what are you planning for maybe for 2021, or anything that you're working on, or any hint that you can provide to everyone?
Well, definitely Finite Fest again, because we were supposed to have a bigger Finite Fest this year, but well, that's over now. But maybe next year when we're allowed, it's going to be a big Finite Fest. That's something I could promise. Um, More international shows because we were supposed to bring in maybe like 3 or 2 international bands this year as
Hmm.
well. But well, that's not happening anymore. But yeah, definitely more of those because I just know that once this is all over, people are gonna be stoked to go to shows again because we all miss shows.
Yeah.
So I expect a lot of people to keep coming to shows. So I mean, we're not gonna stop doing that.
Yes. Anybody you want to shout out to, Karen?
Well, I don't know. Shout out to my team, Finite Fam, and everyone who supports us. Shout out to my bands. Listen to my bands,
Hmm.
LOSTTHREADS, ORCA, Fragments, Similar Intents, and False Contender. Whichever you prefer, whatever genre you want, we have it all. But yeah, and I think that's it.
Yeah, I like to thank you, Karen, for
Thank you
always
for having me.
you're always approachable. I can always message you, and putting up all these shows, and bringing these bands. It's really the thing that you do to the scene is very good. So thank you very much for joining, Karen.
Thank you.
Thanks. See you. Thank you, Karen.